The saga of NXIVM, the self-proclaimed self-improvement empire that masked a labyrinth of coercion, exploitation, and psychological manipulation, stands as one of the most chilling exposés of modern cult dynamics. At its vortex was Keith Raniere, a silver-tongued visionary who lured seekers with promises of enlightenment, only to ensnare them in a web of control that blurred the lines between mentorship and mastery. Central to this narrative is Allison Mack, the Smallville star whose post-show drift led her into Raniere's orbit, transforming her from Hollywood darling to key recruiter in a sex-trafficking ring. Mack's arc, from adrift actress to devoted acolyte to convicted conspirator, mirrors the broader downfall of NXIVM, an organization that preyed on vulnerability under the guise of empowerment, leaving scars that a new podcast, Uncover, Allison After NXIVM, seeks to probe for lessons in influence and redemption. When Smallville wrapped its decade-long run in 2011, Allison Mack, then 28, grappled with an identity void. Having embodied Chloe Sullivan, the plucky journalist unearthing truths in a superheroic world, for her formative years, the transition to real life felt seismic. In a 2017 Fine magazine interview, she confessed the bumpy uncertainty. "I felt not quite sure where I was going or who I was." Enter Keith Raniere, whom she hailed as a wonderful teacher and mentor, dispensing incredible guidance. He nudged her toward theater, landing her in Red Velvet at San Diego's Old Globe, a move that, in retrospect, masked deeper indoctrination. Mack extolled mentorship's virtues. Everyone needs a mentor. If you aren't willing to be humble enough to seek wisdom, you're missing opportunities for depth. Her words, once innocuous, now echo as echoes of grooming, Raniere positioning himself as the sage steering her confusion. NXIVM, founded by Raniere in 1998 with Nancy Salzman, masqueraded as a beacon for personal growth. Pronounced NXIVM like the antacid, it attracted high-profile devotees through executive success programs, intensives costing thousands, promising to shatter limiting beliefs. Raniere, dubbed Vanguard, cultivated a messianic aura, his curriculum peddling pseudoscientific modules on ethics, relationships, and success. Backed by heiresses like Claire and Sarah Bronfman, whose Seagram fortunes funneled millions, NXIVM expanded to chapters worldwide, endorsing figures from surgeons general to TV stars. Yet, beneath the seminars lurked DOS, a clandestine sorority, Dominus Obsequious Sororium, translating to Master over Slave Women, a pyramid of slaves recruited by masters, culminating in Raniere's harem. DOS demanded collateral, nude photos, damaging secrets, family dirt, to ensure loyalty with refusal risking exposure. Branding rituals seared Raniere's initials near recruits' groins, framed as empowerment symbols but executed without anesthesia, evoking screams and dissociation. Sexual servitude to Raniere was mandatory, his doctrine preaching male polygamy against female monogamy. The 2018 federal indictment detailed a rotating cadre of 15 to 20 women, isolated from others, their lives micromanaged. Raniere's Albany Villa, a $10,000 weekly haven, became ground zero for abuses, emotional gaslighting, caloric restrictions to 500 to 800 daily, and exploration of life, sessions devolving into coerced encounters. Mack's entanglement deepened post-Smallville. Rising to DOS's upper echelons, she recruited via female mentorship facades, extorting labor and intimacy. Arrested in 2018, she pleaded guilty in 2019 to racketeering conspiracy, extortion, and forced labor, facing 17 years but receiving 3, serving 2 before early release in 2023. At sentencing, tears streaming, she renounced, "I threw myself into Keith's teachings. This was the biggest mistake of my life. I am sorry to those I brought into NXIVM, exposed to a twisted man's schemes." Her memo detailed blind devotion, resources squandered on a false prophet. Raniere's empire crumbled under scrutiny. A 2003 Forbes profile, Cult of Personality, flagged red flags, Bronfman Sr. deeming it a cult, after his daughter's $2 million infusions. Frank Report blogger Frank Perlato's exposés, including branded slaves, ignited defections. The 2017 New York Times bombshell on DOS branding prompted FBI raids. Raniere, nabbed in Mexico, was convicted in 2019 on sex trafficking, forced labor, and fraud, drawing 120 years. Prosecutors decried his reign of control, a horror story of scars. Salzman got 42 months for racketeering, Claire Bronfman 81 for harboring and ID fraud. Victims' voices amplified the horror. Catherine Oxenberg, Dynasty vet, watched daughter India wither, missing periods, calorie-starved, after joining via mom's intro. India's 2020 People account, collateral as keys to my prison, seducing Raniere a command to shed vulnerability. Sarah Edmondson, Vancouver actress, wept through branding, "Master, please brand me," dissociating in agony. Her Vice interview unpacked 80 days of trainings warping her worldview, collateral a nude video silencing her. Mark Vicente, ex-follower and filmmaker, told The Times, "You don't realize what's happening as personality erodes." Crook distanced herself, horrified, never inner circle. Fox's daughter Anna Christina, an early enrollee, severed ties post-abuse revelations. The Bronfman's fallout, Claire's prison, Sarah's regret, highlighted wealth's blind spots. Raniere's 2017 denial, no merit to abuse claims, nonviolence his core value. Post-arrest, NXIVM statement vowed innocence, but cracks widened, defectors like Vicente aiding feds. NXIVM's allure? Tailored to vulnerabilities, shyness for Crook, post-divorce drift for Mack, ambition for Bronfmans. Modules gaslit dissenters as parasites, lawsuits silencing critics. Pyramid economics, $5,000 intensives, escalating fees, funneled profits upward. Raniere's church mouse asceticism masked opulence. His arrest chase by devoted women epitomized thrall. Post-fallout, redemption quests vary. Mack's podcast delves gray zones of accountability, her 2023 marriage signaling reintegration. Edmondson's scarred memoir recruits 2000 guiltily, "I never lied, I believed Keith the wisest." India's Seduced series reclaims voice, "Not cult girl, but me." Oxenberg's Captive chronicles maternal crusade. Vicente's The Vow docuseries humanizes escape. NXIVM warns of charisma's dangers, how wisdom veils control, mentorship morphs to mastery. Raniere, 65, rots in Tucson federal pen, his Vanguard myth shattered. Mack, 43, navigates stigma, her Smallville legacy tainted but not defining. The podcast premieres amid #MeToo echoes urging vigilance. True growth empowers, never enslaves. In Exposing Shadows, survivors illuminate paths forward, turning horror to healing.